Coming up on Network Africa, bomb blast hits Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe gives a scornful speech at the United Nations General Assembly, calls U.S. President Donald Trump a giant gold Goliath. And dozens feared drowned off Libya's coast. Glad you could join us. Welcome to the program. I'm Millicent Walker. We begin in Cameroon, where an explosion has been reported in the economic capital, Douala, as demonstrations are held in the country's English-speaking regions. According to reports, the explosion took place near a fuel depot in Bamenda, wounding 3 police officers. Security forces have cordoned off the area as the death toll has not yet been announced. No one has claimed responsibility for the blast, but authorities say that a secessionist group calling for the creation of a breakaway state called Ambazonia, which has links in the Anglophone region, was behind the attack. Meanwhile, a big protest is underway in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon to pressure the government to release community leaders who are being held in custody. In Bamenda, thousands of protesters are blowing whistles, chanting freedom songs and flying flags they say represents an independent southern Cameroon. They say they are often excluded from top civil service jobs and that many government documents are published only in French, even though English is an official language. Cameroon was colonized by Germany in the 19th century and then split into British and French areas after World War I. Later, areas controlled by Britain and France joined to form Cameroon after the colonial powers withdrew in the 1960s. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari is to spend 4 days in London after leaving the United Nations General Assembly in New York. No explanation has been given regarding the reason for his visit. However, his spokesman, Mr. Femi Adesina, says President Buhari will be in the United Kingdom till Monday next week. Buhari spent more than 100 days in London receiving treatment for an undisclosed illness earlier this year. Well, Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe appears to have mocked United States President Donald Trump during his speech at the ongoing 72nd United Nations General Assembly. The 93-year-old ruler described the U.S. president as the giant gold Goliath following the U.S. president's threat to totally destroy North Korea. He criticized Mr. Trump for withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Accord on climate change. President Mugabe, who has ruled the Southern African nation since its independence from Britain in 1980, also called on Trump to promote the values of unity and peace.
And may I say to the United States President, please blow your trumpet in a musical way towards the values of unity, peace, cooperation, togetherness, dialogue, which we have always stood for and which are well written in our very sacred document, the Charter of the United Nations. Upon those values, each nation can build its greatness.
President of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe. Meanwhile, Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir has made a plea to residents in the war-torn Darfur region to give up their arms as he made a 2-day visit to the area. Political experts say Bashir's visit is to show his country is ready to have the 20-year-old sanctions lifted by the United States just weeks before Washington is expected to issue a decision. Well, conflict in Darfur began in 2003 when mainly non-Arab tribes took up arms against Sudan's Arab-led government. Sudan's economy has struggled since the South ceded in 2011, taking with it 3/4 of the country's oil output, its main source of foreign currency and government income. 8 agencies in the Democratic Republic of Congo have sounded the alarm as the cholera epidemic spreads across the country. Health officials say more than 500 people have died and more than 24,000 suspected cases of the disease found in all parts of the vast nation this year.
The World Health Organization says more than 500 people have died so far in the cholera epidemic that is sweeping across the Democratic Republic of Congo. Outbreaks of a waterborne disease occurs regularly in Congo, mainly due to poor sanitation and lack of access to clean drinking water. But this year's epidemic, which has already hit at least 10 urban areas, including the capital, Kinshasa, is particularly worrying as it comes at a time when about 1.4 million people have also been displaced by violence in the central Kasai region. In central Congo, Doctors Without Borders have set up a makeshift clinic that has been treating some of the worst cases in the region. The experts are trying to stop the spread of the disease, while at the same time treating those infected.
Since the beginning of the year, there has been more than 24,000 cases of cholera, and half of those cases were treated by the MSF team on the ground. Unfortunately, there has been some deaths, and that is why it's important to once again raise the alarm of the epidemic, which has spread through the country, and to call on all stakeholders to get involved.
The WHO confirms at least 528 people had died last week, and the epidemic has spread to 20 of Congo's 26 provinces.
There
is lack of sanitation. It's really dirty, as you can see, from the population and the surroundings. They have no toilets. There is lack of access to clean water. All those are factors that contribute to the spread of this infectious disease.
The World Health Organization has sent a team of experts, including epidemiologists and public health specialists, to Congo this month in an effort to help contain the disease.